Good evening. Welcome back to Savannah by Night, our Vampire the Masquerade game here at Knights of Silvermoon. It is, of course, not the only game we play here. We have our Age of Innovation tomorrow night, our Star Wars game once every month or so. And we are currently in the epilogue run of episodes for our Age of Myth. So stay tuned for that. So check out our Discord, our socials, and everything else. Um, Tonight is going to be a little bit different in that we are going to be focusing a little bit on hunting. Now, in Vampire the Masquerade, hunting can be a little bit of a dubious prospect in terms of morality and ethics. And while we have discussed our uh, comfort levels as a group on certain things, and of course, we have our safety tools in place as always, that if anyone's uncomfortable to say so, and we will deal with it as we need to. But for anyone watching, we understand if maybe you want to fast forward, skip, or just take a break between scenes. That is understandable. It's okay. But we thank you for your time, anyways. Does anyone here have any announcements they'd like to make before we launch into the game? Nope.
Tuesdays, if you want to come hang out with me for some D&D 2024, I am in a brand new campaign called Embers and Arcanum with our friends over at Top Down Tabletop at 7:30 Central.
If we can get a shout out down in the chat. But if there's no other little items, let's tell a vampire story, shall we? Last time on Savannah by Night, Ellie attempted a conversation with one Ava Lash. However, the then shrewd dominatrix was quick to restrain the Nosferatu's clumsy rambling and exposing the nature of their naked ambition. With their deficiencies laid bare, Ellie was offered a chance to learn how to better themselves, as always, for a price. What followed in Ellie's decompression was a chess match with Lump that swiftly became a verbal chess match with Tabby. The two seemingly at odds over how to best approach things with their fellow neonates and the expectations placed upon them by the higher members of their clan. Artem managed to corral the bulk of the neonates together for a conversation with Havel. The elder Bruja's assessment of the lot made it apparent that none of them knew how to defend themselves against other kindred, resulting in the clear need of proper combat training, which she would be all too happy to provide. Strangely, she didn't extract a litany of favors from them, instead, assuring them that the prices on her gym's website would ultimately apply to them, up to a point at any rate. His next foray with an elder was of his own clan, a Ms. Tessa Stratton, a dog trainer for both Elysium and Veritas. While they mused back and forth on the nature of wild animals, Artem seemed to impress her enough to win an invitation to learn from her in the coming nights. Poppy ran back into Nico, and the two shared a bit of idle gossip from the evening thus far. But the older Toreador focused on the fact that she managed to get Clarice out of the house without him, something he seemed both grateful for and amused by. So much so that while escorting Poppy through the room, he wafted past their primogen to remark on his sire's presence, eliciting a gritted teeth response from the lead rose. Riding high on his cloud of smug, Nico introduced Ms. Stewart to DJ Raleigh, where both expressed a love of weaving together multiple art forms in order to create a comprehensive sensory experience. Chris, however, was left feeling isolated and even envious at the ease by which Poppy was able to go up to a perfect stranger and glide into effortless conversation. But Poppy was able to smoothly reincorporate the young gangrel back into the conversation by calling attention to their upcoming training with Havel. A prominent Tremere by the name of Maximilian Keller made a point of introducing himself to Kate, remarking on their shared status as both being members of higher clans. With a proposition asked of how he might be able to intrigue her, numbers exchanged, the warlock politely made his exit. Kate made use of Ellie's interaction with Ava Lash to strike up her own conversation with the more established Ventrue. Securing a future job shadowing, Kate was also informed to dress for the occasion, something sultry and authoritative, whatever those words mean to the younger blue blood. Tabby was approached by the most persistent blonde in all of Savannah, Yvette. However, before she managed to get her hooks into the younger Nosferatu, Petra asserted herself into the situation and sent the Toreador off, though not without the rose parting with a sharpened barb. Petra then dispensed a bit of advice to dear, sweet, vulnerable Tabby, reminding her that while secrets are certainly a useful commodity within kindred society, it is far from the only way to get by. The local kindred cryptid that is, as of yet, known only as Driver 616, gave Tabby both a ride back into the city and a moment for some self-reflection on the course of the evening. Cora managed to ferret out at least a partial answer from Atherton regarding the nature and etiquette relating to the refreshments she had seen among a few individuals in Elysium, though most of that polite yet short answer came down to simply being properly established enough to make one's way onto a very particular list. Dr. Aldridge arranged for Cora to meet another junior Malkavian, one Bell Roslin. He quickly disappeared, leaving the two fractured reflections to their own awkwardly uncomfortable devices. While the pair seemed to find at least some semblance of a rapport, Bell's own desperate form of anxiety reared its ugly head. But instead of leaving or asking to be left alone, Bell seemed comfortable to ask for mere companionable silence, to which Cora was all too happy to facilitate, leading to driving Bell home in strangely easy quiet between the two of them. Now, there had been some tensions among some of the player characters the night before. It seems appropriate that we pick up with those two back in the Warrens. Before we get to anything in particular, however, everyone here needs to mark off a single point of blood as we start a new night. For anyone that is going to be among humans, kind, that requires the need to look and appear and feel human, you may wish to adopt a second uh, point of blood, which should be informing how much you need to be hunting tonight. But that's typically less of an issue for the Nosferatu. Tabitha, let's start with you. You made it back to your room. What's your first thought or action as you are awakening on this new night? You are muted.
Hello. Tabby awakens after a somewhat restless sleep throughout the day. Has been in thought throughout the whole time. And she immediately recognizes that she's starting to get quite hungry. So she knows that tonight's a very good night to go hunt again.
Okay.
But the first thing that she does is she pulls out her phone and finds Ellie's contact.
Okay.
After stalling, wondering the right way to word things again for another minute or so, Tabby texts Ellie. Hey, can we meet up?
Where?
Where works best for you? Need to eat. About to head out. At home.
Me too. About to prep my meal. Meet at my spot.
Sounds good. And Tabby will head to Ellie's spot.
Now, for Ellie, would you have been in your room at that time, or had you been out in the Warrens?
I would have been in my room, probably also getting hungry, um, probably also finding someone to uh entice with giving me some of their money and their blood. They don't know so much about the blood part, but the money part they'll be aware of.
Hmm. So, at some point, Tabby, do you go up and knock, or do you send a text to say, hey, I'm here?
I'll knock.
Ellie will get up, unlock the door, let Tabby in. The just if it's okay with you, Graham, I'll say I just finished making a meetup with some, let's say is a politician that has a secret child and have the child support payments and DNA results to verify it, and if they want it kept under wraps, meet at this location.
Ooh, there's some headlines we could actually apply to this, but no. So I would say that's entirely within the realm of realism. and leave it at that.
So that's just been finished up. Sorry, just finishing getting the my rendezvous together.
Sounds good. Tabby types away at something on her phone and pulls up a picture and will hand the phone facing Ellie to Ellie.
What's this?
It is, when you look at the screen, it has a small compilated list of the contacts of the party.
I see a decision has been made. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if Ellie will take it, she hands them the phone. I don't need your forgiveness, but I need you to understand that I am not good at the game, as I'm sure you're aware. And I've been for so long without having anything that I don't know how to climb out and I don't know what to start getting first. So, you are not my enemy. You've been nice to me so far. And these numbers weren't entrusted to me, so it's not exactly betraying anyone yet. What do I know that you're going to do with those? But I'm sorry for the obstruction. I would benefit from an ally, and I want this to at least be a good show of faith for that. And while obviously it's yours anyway, if I might ask for something, I would ask that you try and take me along. I'm a mess, and I can use every bit of tips and recommendations, and funds, protection. Obviously, I need all of it. So, I don't know exactly why everyone else mistrusts you so much, but I'm open to the idea of using that. I'm horrible at gathering this by my own wits, but if we could work together and you don't mind playing the heel, might work something out.
I am used to working by myself for a lot of things, and it's as a result, when I am first working with others, I can be a little bit defensive. So I don't think either of us was our best selves the other night. And Yeah, I'm willing to help however I can for you, because I was new here once myself, and the reason I was able to get the way I was is because of someone else sticking their neck out for me. They're saying this as they're copying all of the contacts into their phone.
The moment you're done, Tabby takes the phone back and clearly deletes the picture. Not the numbers, but the cobbled group.
The the I do have a meal already set, and I'm a little hungry myself, but I'm happy to help you hunt in another way or find someone else to well, there is another. How hungry are you?
Not quite starving, but good to keep the tank full. I've fed at the overpass, but transportation's a bitch, so I was driven there before. So rats are fine if I need to, but if there's any thing that you don't mind going out of your way for, much appreciated.
There is a have you met Orson before?
Orson. Yes.
Have you for lack of a better term, eaten with Orson before?
I have not. Is that a thing that he offers? I imagine the stuff that we've seen him
It's
raising was not necessarily for food, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's high quality cuisine, but it's certainly better than nothing.
I'm well used to low quality cuisine in a number of ways, so that sounds good to me.
I guess I should also yeah, we should it's also probably good if you know where an emergency stash is in case things get desperate.
Thank you.
Graham, while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna there's just a little bit that's clicked in Ellie's brain, and Ellie, because Tabby shared all of the new neonates in that photo, right? Correct, Tabby?
Yes, it would have specifically been Artem, Kate, Poppy, Cora, and herself.
Great. Just gonna quickly make cross-reference and make sure that the numbers that are for Cora and for Tabby are the same ones that I already had.
555.
Yeah.
Now, since I know that they only have the one phone, I can tell you that those numbers would match up.
You can tell them that they would match up?
Yes.
Great. Awesome. So as they're walking, Ellie's going to say you do know we have like the you can just for future reference, you can just send the contact via text over, but I do appreciate the symbolic nature of what was done.
There was multi-purpose. For one thing, I have messed up enough recently that I'm taking baby steps with private information.
Good,
So-
good way to cover your tracks. That is smart.
I don't know if Kate can
Tabby?
pull up.
Roll perception empathy to see if that was a true statement or not.
Okay.
Sam, if you would like to roll against that.
Oh boy, what am I? Sorry, what? Hold on, my
I thought he was just going to get up and leave.
There goes that.
And I'm out. See ya.
my d10s were in a different spot. I'm rolling perception against perception empathy.
You would be rolling manipulation or well, you tell me.
I'm very
that have
confused
been-
about what I said. That is a trigger. So that's my.
It seemed to me as though that may have been a slight, maybe not lie, as much as a, how do I put this? Yeah, buddy, you did good. Keep doing the thing that I need you to do. So it's more just a case of we're just seeing if there was an underlay.
Okay.
So we're just going to go with manipulation subterfuge for you. If you don't have subterfuge, it'll just be at,
subterfuge.
so just at a 7.
Great.
For Tabby, perception, empathy. Again, just at a 6 for you. Assuming you have empathy.
Do.
Okay, so you're not Artem. Got it.
I hear Artem's
And-
evolved.
An even bigger foot. So we're just going to see how many successes you got.
I got 1. No botches. Oh shit.
You get a sense of sincerity.
Yay.
Great. So I'll take Tabby over to where Orson resides.
Now, while the majority of the Warrens are paradoxical in the sense they're quite pristine, in many ways it looks like it should exist above ground. But as you get towards where this particular hatch lies, it seems overgrown. There is a melange of textures, colors, and aromas. And as you get a bit closer, there seems to be a photoreactive quality to the moss, lichen, fungi that radiate out from the hatch. As though it is reacting to proximity or a change in the light created by you blocking some ambient source. Do you knock or you just open it? Either or.
I knock.
Okay. It's silent. And then you can hear before you see the scraping of metal against metal as the door, or rather the wheel of the hatch, starts to turn as it swings open with no guiding hand, but the rolling photoreactivity of the biomass attached to the inside of the door. seems to flex and pulse.
Hey, Orson.
What do you want?
Got a friend here who's well, we're about to go get a meal, but she she might need a little something before we go outside. Do you have any to spare?
Maybe. Don't be shy. And it seems to come from everywhere in a discordant cacophony.
Ellie walks confidently in and gestures to Tabby to follow.
Follows without much. There's like a trepidation, but she doesn't look afraid.
As you step in, the door closes just as it opened, with no guiding hand. Just that oscillating pulse and flex of plant matter. And it's hard to tell exactly what this place was before it was overrun with Little Shop of Horrors. Possibly some sort of cistern, as there are. It's fairly open, but it is a bit of a jungle of the unrecognizable. Things that would belong more in the Voynich manuscript in terms of how you would describe the alien quality. But up on a higher level, on a railing that is interwoven with vine and lichen, that it's hard to tell if there is rust or merely layer of moss. The stubby hands of Orson come into view in the dim light, and his purplish, pudgy exterior peers over the edge. Oh, come on up.
Go ahead.
Goes on up.
No, both of you.
All right. Ellie goes up as well.
You notice that the closer the two of you get, the slightly bulbous stature of this individual retreats inward slightly. Okay. So you're both looking for something or just one?
Just this one.
Okay. Now,
Sorry, wait. That one. There we go.
so we got to help each other down here, right? I do this for you. You got to do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to reach over to this pulsating bulb that is grown off of this vine wall of putrescence and lift, twist, pinch, wrench. And there is an absolute squick sound attached to this. Are you okay? Do we need to fast forward this part? Are you good? Okay.
Plant gore.
Well, that's a new tag on AO3. All right. You're welcome, Internet. Only the finest in Rule 34 here at Knights of Silvermoon. And as this quasi-translucent Chernobyl Farms eggplant is removed off the wall, I love my job. He sort of just holds the end of this as if he's making sure it doesn't spurt everywhere. So I'm gonna let you have this, but I want the two of you to get some supplies so this stuff doesn't dry out. Can you
So,
guess what?
well, I'm guessing if it can sustain us, it probably starts with a B and ends with a D.
A top marks.
Red.
You know, usually.
Does this stuff feed on blood?
Hey, gotta spend blood to make blood.
Do you have a container, or would that be up to us to go find?
My job's here. Your job's to go find. I don't care how you do it. If it's blood bags, or people, or animals. He's gotta keep the circle of life going here, Simba.
Sounds good.
So whatever you take out, you gotta put more into the system.
How much blood do these things usually take to grow?
Yes.
Makes sense.
So
Is
do you
this
want
this
this or
thing
not?
is filled with this thing is filled with blood, right?
Kinda.
Kinda. Well, I will accept the deal.
He rotates the head in a way that there's a little bit more wobble to the cheeks than maybe you were hoping for. What about you, Ellie? Is that the first time you've come in here?
Well, I wanted to show the new blood that if things, if there is a necessary need, she should know where a possible emergency stash is should the need arise. For the price, of course, we're going to get you the blood you need.
There we go.
Is there, I'm assuming you've asked for this before, is there a common way people have given you what you need?
Like I said, either blood bags, meat bags, or animals. Sometimes a combination.
Alrighty then.
I had no preference.
Sounds good.
You might want to actually drink that. It's
Yeah, you don't want that to go to waste.
Just bite it.
Go for it.
All right.
there's a sort of remember he had sort of pinched it off at the top,
Yeah.
so there's a built-in spout.
All right. Takes a bite as best she can.
As you drink deep of this unfortunate gourd, that looks like it would belong at a Cenobite farm. You drain it in such a way your hands squeeze, clench, wrench until this is unfortunate paper wafer jerky.
What's it taste like?
There's the idea of blood and a lot of other things you couldn't possibly begin to name. It doesn't give the sense of a chemical quality. It doesn't seem artificial as much as a lot of things have gone into this that maybe were not meant to.
Makes Tabby think of a bad watermelon that also had a bunch of iron in it.
I call it a pitcher plant. Eh?
Oh, that's such a better name.
I'm gonna need that back.
It was like stuck on
They
her
just
fang.
spit out all the blood.
So he takes this, and as you've seen him do before, Ellie, he sort of shreds it up and adds it to the bottom of this, not quite compost, fertilizer, potting soil that has accrued at the bottom of this. Like he said, it all has to go back into the system.
How much blood was that?
I'm trying to remember what I gave Ellie before. I believe it was 2. So we'll
Sounds
go
right.
with that. So you're slightly above breaking even.
Thank you very much, Orson.
Now, I have no way of enforcing that you're going to do the thing that I want you to do, but if you don't, enjoy the freebie, because you're not getting another.
Not a freebie. Thank you, sir.
Sir. Oh, you've been upstairs, haven't you?
I find that a little adherence, but not too much, is useful in a few ways. So, thank you. And Tabby will motion that she's ready to go.
All right. Well, we'll be back with some more blood for ya.
He seems to have turned away as though he's already been done with the conversation for a while.
He's done that. Okay.
He's just going back to tending to his plants. Sorry, let me try that again. His plants.
Thank you. So Ellie leaves with Tabby.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Once we have definitely left and are well a ways from Orson's abode.
Speaking of which, as you go to exit, you have to spin the wheel on the hatch yourself, but as you do so, the plant matter attached to it bristles in the way that it seems like an entire wall made of a rattlesnake.
Believe for a second he couldn't recollect if we were to try and not try and have a freebie. Didn't plan on it anyway, but I don't believe that.
Yeah, no. It's I wouldn't suspect him of that either. Anyway,
Once we are out, Tabby does ask Ellie, how much blood do you think is fair for that? Obviously, he would love us to bring as much as possible, but and certainly don't want to short him.
I
But
think
I'm
if we
wondering,
bring, I think if we bring either a body or let's say a small crate's worth of blood bags, I think we'll be in the clear.
sounds good. I think could also just get a trash bag full of rats. But we should deal with you having your meal as I try and think of a. What was that? A weird statement?
No, it's not a weird statement. I am checking my own privilege on this. Not yes, a bag full of rats is also a viable option here.
Well, I will try and figure that out, but let's go do your thing. Thanks for mine.
Yeah, and Ellie's gonna get the van to go park a reasonable distance away from the meeting spot to get their feeding done.
Mm. So how would you like to effectuate this?
Ellie is going to, well, probably actually makes more sense if Ellie finds a spot that's near to a Warren's entrance as opposed to having a car that's traceable.
Now, keep in mind, you don't need to necessarily be near a Warren's entrance as much as a sewer entrance.
Yes,
which
sorry,
can get you to the Warrens.
That was
Yeah, okay.
what I meant on that.
Just making sure.
Near a sewer entrance that they can easily access. Get there early, and because this is a politician,
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure that they've actually followed the requirement, which is come alone and with a suitcase full of cash.
Mm-hmm. Where would you be setting this up at? Like a little park,
I would be setting this up at probably something across the street from a park, something where there will be benches that you can sit at so that there's enough coverage for us to hide in the shadows, but also isolated enough that someone can sit down, we do a quick feed, they might pass out on the bench, but when they wake up, the money's gone and they're none the wiser.
Okay. So this is a common practice for you, you would say then?
Yes.
But now you have your own car to do this with, and a familiarity with sewers, and you have spent at least the last, was it 2 or 3 months that you've been in Savannah?
Yep.
Probably wise for you to park perhaps in an alleyway somewhere nearby, or even a parking structure. It's irrelevant exactly where, but the idea being you would have access to a sewer. Hopping down there, navigating to where towards where you would be having this meeting, popping up through a sewer, and adopting your Overwatch position. It would be not unreasonable to say that you could have either done it a few times in order to get multiple views to make sure that they have done exactly as you instructed. You could also simply divide and conquer. where you go, Tabby, you're going to do this one, I'm going to go to the other one. How would you like to do that? Say it together or?
I'll stick with.
Okay.
Sorry, I was doing research that might be relevant.
That should be interesting to hear about. Okay. Now, let's say. You don't see a politician, or at least not the one that you would expect. You see. Well, how thorough would you investigate the individual and the people in their circle?
I would know enough about, probably, if it's a politician, I probably know who their family is, who their secret family is, and who are probably like the close knit, like their chief of staff or something, if they're currently in office.
Okay. So this wouldn't be their chief of staff as much as a staffer of some caliber. However, they are with a small satchel, like the kind that a bike courier might have. There is no bike, and they are going over to the bench that you have instructed. And they are trying real hard to keep it cool, to be furtive without looking like they are doing something possibly nefarious. But there's a concerted effort to try and pantomime putting this thing down, pushing a half a foot away while still staying on the bench, as if telegraphing a handover. And because it's the modern knights, many people don't just stare off into space when they sit in front of a park. They take out their phone and they start to presumably surf around or text.
Wow, this guy's more of an asshole than I thought. What do you think, Tabby? Do I let him get the satisfaction of sending a sacrificial lamb after me? Or do we just go and the entire city finds out about his illegitimate child? After all, he didn't follow my instructions.
I think that depends on how hungry you are, but I think there's some value in, if there's any notoriety to you amongst them, that there are those who can say that you hit them. That your threat was a legitimate. Could do both. Do you know who that person is? The one on the bench, not the one who you're targeting?
Member of his team.
Oh,
I
team.
told him specifically to come alone. He sent an aide.
Hmm.
Can't even be bothered to show up himself. And while they're saying that, Ellie's gonna take a look around, see if anyone else seems to be present.
So we'll say this as part of you popped up in a few different places before finally settling on your current vantage point. So roll me perception alertness, and we'll put it at a 4 because you have help and you are being methodical in terms of picking multiple places.
Yeah, I don't know if there's mechanics to aid. I think you just did that for me, but
Yeah.
yes.
Three successes.
3. You
No.
are seeing no further complication. There are people who are in the area, but in a way that they are moving through that is unrelated to the individual. There doesn't seem to be a pattern of someone continuously looping through that you would catch. They're all different people going about their night. Some people walking a dog, couple hand in hand. Ideal spot for people watching.
I'm gonna get a snack. I'm going to leave the money. Because I'm not gonna have him say, well, you took the money anyway, even though he didn't follow my instructions. So Ellie's going to start sneaking towards while also looking over the person's shoulders to see what they're doing on their phone. If it's one of those things where they're just kind of pretending they're scrolling through something, or if they're pretending to scroll because they don't want to look suspicious.
They are pretending to scroll as you get close. I'm gonna say that with the preparation and the current rules, that the stealth roll here is trivial.
Okay.
The question I would ask is, are you adopting a phony face? Or are you
Yes.
okay, so you're not going the full Ellie. You are
No, I'm adopting a face because it's always the type of thing where in case someone bumps into me, then they suddenly see. I think so I'm adopting a fake face.
okay. Is it kind of just any random assortment of features, or is it a very specific face?
Random assortment of features.
Okay. Sort of the Mr. Potato Head equivalent of a disguise. You sneak up. They are both distracted and maybe just a little unsure. The whole situation's very weird for them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to expect. Do you go in for the bite?
I go in for the bite.
Okay. So the decision I need for you to make then is, I'm assuming you're going for the neck because it's the easiest, just
Yes.
quick. Are you just taking 2? Are you taking 3? Are you taking more?
3 will get him woozy, right?
Real woozy. Not in a way that's life-threatening, but in a way that you are making a person take a nap on a park bench.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 2.
Okay.
And then gonna sneak back and go.
Before you do,
Yeah.
As your fangs sink in, there is a soft, surprised gasp that turns into a sigh. It's very quiet. It's the sound someone might make when easing into a warm bath. You feel them relax under you. The hands that were previously holding the phone aloft very quickly relax down onto the bench. And it's almost like they had a micro nap. They didn't pass out. It's that when you've had longer between a blink than maybe you intended,
Mm-hmm.
you get a sense of caffeine, but stale.
Mm.
And a lot of it.
Mm.
And the acidic chemical taste of taurine. As this person is obviously living off of a certain amount, an unhealthy amount of energy drinks.
Yeah.
The life of a political aide. We're not talking about you anymore. It's fine. You're okay. You get the impression they're losing just a few seconds of time in the way that they are maybe used to experiencing those little micro naps due to their unhealthy caffeine intake.
Yes.
You do feel like your teeth are humming slightly, though. And you don't quite get a halation effect of any of the street lights, but they almost sound a touch louder.
I hear the buzzing a
Yeah.
little bit.
You didn't have tinnitus in life, but you're thinking maybe you have it just a little bit now. But with
Ellie.
your current meal sorted, go ahead.
Ellie sneaks back, like comes over to Tabby, and they have a little twitch in their eye, like, oh, okay. Guess I should wait until they return first before I leak that information to one of the newspapers. Where shall we get our supply?
I've been thinking. Is there a pet store near here?
I think that is a fantastic place to fade out from. That is a fantastic fucking line. That's brilliant. You're a terrible, terrible person. And I love it.
They don't have to be live, they just have to have been euthanized.
Okay. Ooh. Dark. Animal shelters are a thing. Animal hospitals. I'm sure they have some sort of. Don't worry about it. Anywho.
Yeah, I think we all know what Tabby's idea. Bag of rats.
Okay. Just to make sure, that was a little bit dark. Some of us had a laugh, but we're okay. We're all good. Okay. Won't someone please think of the animals?
I did.
I think Tabby has been thinking about the animals. That's the problem. So, if we're all good, We're going to fade out from the Nos, who that was delightful. Thank you. And we're going to check in with our resident Ventru.
I really don't know how I'm supposed to follow that.
Don't worry, I got things. So I assume you did your bookkeeping. You got your
Yep.
blood ticked off. Okay.
I've got to stop looking at chat. I made a Sarah McLachlan joke, and the coteries running with it, so it's just gonna sit over there.
In the arms of a Nosferatu. So,
Whose sire was named Angel.
ooh. Wonder if I could hire her. Anyways, that would be great. So, you are waking up, unlike some of the others, in a very comfortable bed, bespoke to your tastes and a much less limited budget. All your palette choices, materials, pristinely what you wanted them to be. But upon a day's rest, you have time to ponder how you felt about Elysium the previous night, what it was like being back at court. Not the one you're used to, but court nonetheless.
It was good being back at court. Was able to set up some job shadowing, start building those connections within my own clan. Beginning to plant seeds with the new bloods and see if any of them are worth watering based on what grows. Getting to know some other clan members. So there's lots of pieces that have been set out. Feels like a good start.
Has there been any concerns, frustrations?
Not any concerns for me.
That is the important part, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But as you are starting this new night, what is your order of operations?
I need to feed because there's a lot to do tonight. I've got to feed, I've got to work, and then I've got to go meet Mr. Innsbruck.
Mm-hmm.
And per his instructions, I must be well fed.
So you were given a list of places,
Mm-hmm.
but the one that seemed to call the most and had us.
I was going to say is actually just a block down the road.
Now, I'm wondering if we're thinking of the same one.
I hope so. It's okay if not.
Okay. The reason why is that it had some historic value.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name that you were thinking of?
The original Pinky Masters.
I
Is that
guessed
the same
correctly.
one? Okay,
Yep.
good. Yes, it is only a block and a half down Harris Street.
Do you walk? Do you drive?
No, I'm gonna walk. You can't even find parking that close.
Okay. And how do you prepare yourself for this?
I'm gonna mostly be ready for work, but so Kate is in her black Chelsea boots, some black classic Levi 501s. But then the part that is going to swap before work, she's in like a black satin Alice plus Olivia top. So this is very low key for Kate, but it's still Kate.
Okay. I know. Have you used a bit of blood to enhance
Mm-hmm.
the look of your mortality?
Yes.
Okay. So as you walk down the street, at the corner of Drayton and East Harris, there sits a dingy, stucco-slathered bar with a Pabst Blue Ribbon sign that is larger than the actual name of the establishment itself, Pinky Masters. A venue that stood the test of time since 1953. There are photos of customers cluttering the walls amid run-down booths, and what can only be described as a jukebox so old as to be the basis for every trope surrounding them that's followed. There is a plaque on the horseshoe-shaped bar commemorating a speech by Jimmy Carter given during his first year of office, bolted down into place of where he stood on that very same bar top. Most drinks are served in plastic cups or the tallboy cans they were already in. Of note, the bar, and subsequently your haven, is within easy distance of 6 churches, not least of which being the Cathedral Basilica of St. John the Baptist.
That I have to walk by to get to the bar.
I'm sure it was an interesting time when they were having dry counties on Sundays once upon a time. So as you walk in and you take in the sight, there are a smattering of people here. It's not packed to the rafters. It is a Tuesday night, and it's not too late yet. While it is a bit of a dimly lit hole in the wall, it's not quite an armpit either. It's more subdued, unpretentious. There are some people being served. You see a bartender in a sort of muted blue tank top and faded sort of acid wash jeans, a slight flare towards the shoes. And as he reaches around serving people, casually taking orders, you see, it's hard to describe. There are a few designs that mark his body, but there's one as he turns, you see on his left shoulder, or the back of his left shoulder, a perhaps 7-pointed line. You might be forgiven for thinking as a star, but it's more irregularly length lines radiating out from a central point. You see, well, actually, roll me perception alertness. How many
3.
botches? Okay. 3 botches or okay.
No, 3 successes. A botch doesn't count on a reroll of a 10, correct? Or like a 1 doesn't count on a reroll of a 10? Or does it?
No.
Okay, so then 3 successes.
Okay.
2 of those were 10s.
Nice. It is fitting that you walked past the basilica as you see at least one priest in the traditional yet casual black garb with the, I believe it's called a habit. Is that the correct term?
No, you want that collar thing?
The
Yes.
collar.
Collar. Casually chatting with some people and holding a mug of beer. So what do you do?
I'll glance at what's on tap and then order. I'm assuming PBR is on tap since the sign is so big out front.
It is the most prominent thing on the menu, I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either that or
Oh, did you write down the name of the slushy drink? What was it? The 1970. I'm pretty sure there is a drink on the menu called like the 1970 like coochie scratcher. You should all go to their Instagram. There is also a inside the wall in the one of the pictures on the wall is a signed photograph of Jimmy Carter, and I don't know if it was there pre him passing, but currently there is a bra hanging on that picture. Just to really set the vibe for what kind of bar we're in tonight.
I did see that picture actually.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an important bit of urban myth that I would like to dispel about that. It is a picture of him giving a speech while standing on the bar. The date would say a year into his presidency. The common myth, however, is that he announced his candidacy while standing on that bar, which is an untruth. The reason I mention that specifically is because of Kate's background. She would know better. So while you're looking at the lacy bra hanging off the picture of Jimmy Carter, what would you like to do?
I will kind of lean against the bar and take stock of who might fit here in this establishment, other than the bartender that you mentioned.
You notice a few, but it's more a case of what is getting your attention, what is getting your, how do I put this? Are you looking more for a snack or a long-term meal plan?
Long-term meal plan, and I need to feed a bit more than a light snack. I'm currently down 5.
Okay.
Someone I might need to order nachos for after.
Okay. But do you
And all
order
the
anything first, or do you?
Yeah, I'll get a beer from tap and kind of lean up against the bar with it as I scan.
Yeah, easily done. Bartender's very brisk, casual, but polite and efficient. More a question of how do you want to direct this?
Kate's hair is still down, so she's definitely gonna do the like running through the hair thing because she's got nice hair. She's a vampire. She spent time getting said hair ready before being embraced because she knew it was coming. And seeing if she can make eye contact with anyone else. It's still early enough that but even on a Tuesday night, someone is at a bar looking to have a conversation.
Okay. Roll me charisma. What would be good for this? Performance, maybe?
Got
This is
any
you
other
trying to
options
cast
for
a
me?
net.
Yes. Has they got any other options for me besides performance?
If you can make an argument for me.
Oh, let's see. Can I argue etiquette since etiquette is not just like etiquette is also social rules and understanding each other and like understanding roles and environments, and with this being the environment of a bar, understanding how social interactions work there.
Ooh.
It's a stretch, but
You know, I'm going to allow that one. I will put it at a higher difficulty because it is a little off-brand.
so what are we gonna say, a 7?
Yes.
Okay.
I do like where your head's at, but it's a bit off-brand.
I'm rolling 8.
Okay.
Okay. That cancels that out. 2 successes.
2 successes.
Mhm.
I take it back. Actually, I think that is still on brand. It's just not a very typical use. So I will lower it back to 6 and tell me if that changes anything.
No, I think it was still just 2 because I had a 1
Okay.
cancel out of 10.
Fair. Well, I tried to give you something.
Yeah.
Well, since I was allowing Sam to make up a target based on things that we have talked about, I'm going to allow you to describe who you would like to catch the eyes of. We're going to make this a little collaborative.
Let's try to spot like grungy rocker, kind of close to Kate's age, maybe a couple years older. Like if this was a Friday, he'd probably be playing something
Mm-hmm. Probably not in this place, but in
somewhere
general,
local.
yes.
Yeah. But he's here maybe because it's close to work, maybe because he's friends with the bartender and is just kind of relaxing after work.
You see someone in a more fitted black t-shirt, a well-kept, not quite goatee, but more of a I don't know if you know the musician Voltaire, but that sort of Van Dyke sort of face coif. Slightly spiky black hair. You get the impression that there's that grunge, but also pride. And a smattering of geometric patterns in ink forming off of what you might assume to be poems or lyrics.
Is he sitting in a booth or is he at the bar?
He was just talking with the bartender,
Mm-hmm.
and he is turned around to lean back against the bar with a tall boy. PBR, absolutely. But in a way that's just very casual and observing the room. A little bit of people watching, but no leering.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't seem to be this predator wannabe douche bro. Just a guy who's relaxed in a familiar environment to him.
I'll go slide over to him.
Mm-hmm. For the sake of my own visual, I'm going to assume that you are on one side of the bar and you are you beelining it or
No, I'm
cash?
definitely casual and like looking at all the weird art and just, yeah, I've checked out their Instagram. There's some, you should all go. It's delightful. The vintage ads, the assortment of pictures and accessories, just kind of taking it all in.
Pictures of customers and celebrities, all in various states of not decay but fade. Many of them framed, some of them not. Some of them are just Polaroids that have been pinned to the wall. So do you go right up to him? Do you try to lure him instead?
No, I'll kind of saddle up next to him and go,
Mm.
okay, so I'm new. And can anyone explain the bra on the picture of President Carter? I would love to know the story.
Shit, that was some chick named Bobby?
I guess she was his biggest fan and heartbroken that he left so soon.
I don't know about that. I think she just wanted to do something a little lewd to a old man that I don't think would know what to do with anything more than, what was it, a pecan farm, peanut farm?
I don't know. Did you see? Oh shit! What was his wife's name? Rosalind.
I don't live in that country, so some of my details are a little bit muted.
2 seconds.
We can skip that part.
Yeah.
Kate pulls out phone.
It is Rosalind.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you see Rosalind back in the day? Like, just say. Anyway,
I might have to look that up later, but
I'm Kate.
Barry. So you're new here, as in new at this bar, new in town.
Yes.
Nice. So what are you doing here?
Here at this bar or here in town?
Yes.
Well, I have picked up a job at a security company. So this is me on the way into work. And I'm at the bar because it's in walking distance. And I thought I'd check it out.
What do you think so far?
Oh, this is some kind of vibe. I'm into it.
He looks down at the drink in your hand. Well, clearly. He just holds up for a little cheers. So you're tying one on before heading into work.
Shh, don't tell my boss. I will say, me as a player totally did not. But you know what? We're going with it. We're committing.
It's not as if she's actually getting shit-faced.
Yeah.
Huh? I mean, I dig the vibe. Gotta make it through the night somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask Dreamy, the player, what's your move here? You are in a bar. It's not like you can just neck him then and there, if that's what your goal is.
The goal is to get to that point, not here in the bar, but on the way out.
Okay. How would you like to accomplish this?
I'll keep chatting him up and see if we can kind of leave at the same time, like if he's heading out or if he's sticking around in the bar for a bit. And then try to leave together, maybe swap numbers and walk with him around the corner and then pull him in for a feed.
Okay. So you're trying to angle this more towards you've been having a conversation for a little bit. Okay. Now, here's a question for Kate. What's her music knowledge like?
Okay, so Kate grew up outside of Nashville. So she was dragged to the Grand Ole Opry a lot.
Okay.
Probably against her will for most of it. I feel like she would have hit up some of the bar scene in DC just because it was what was open when they would get off work or go somewhere with papers and things, and whoever was playing, about 50-50 if they were shit or not. But probably not as well versed as someone like Barry, but okay.
You would get the impression very quickly that he's knowledgeable without being opinionated.
He's not like pretentious about it.
No, like he doesn't seem to care so much what people like as much as they like something.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you say Kid Rock, he's gonna be like,
Okay, so I've got to go right now. Immediately?
yeah, I'm just gonna move.
No, I'll drop the being dragged to the Grand Ole Opry line on him.
He's gonna laugh at that, but not derisively much as some commiseration about getting dragged to something that, maybe a concert by an old girlfriend or a parent that went to like a Grateful Dead concert that he just couldn't be asked, but especially because it was a cover band.
Oh no. Kate will commiserate back on that.
So there's some shared back and forth of some of the sillier things that maybe you've been dragged to, or some of the better ones.
I'll do oh shit. Lollapalooza is the one in Tennessee. Bonnaroo. One of the music festivals is in Tennessee. And I'll share about how, we saved up all our money in college to go, drop too much on tickets, missed half the bands because one of her roommates got like sun poisoning and dehydrated, spent half the time in like the med tent.
He'll ask what year that was.
Thank you, Helena, with Bonnaroo. Lollapalooza is in Chicago, I think. Anyways, I will name said year.
Okay. Oh shit. I was at that one.
No way.
Some of those acts were worth missing, I'll say that much.
Yeah, but when you're broke college and like that's your one shot.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. I would like to say that was her come to Jesus moment, but that friendship kind of fizzled out after holding her hair back a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, I got a few guys like that over the years that aren't in the band anymore.
Probably for real good reason.
Well, if you got to be their hangover assistant,
It's real old.
way too often it's just, you're kind of a drag, man.
But the band, you play here?
We played across the street once, it'd be a lot easier. Can't really fit all guitar in here, let alone a band.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it hasn't stopped this place from trying, though.
Well, it was suggested one time they moved the jukebox, and you're about like 5 feet away from it. Goes, I asked them to move the jukebox once so we can have a band night in here, and he just looked at me like I was fucking nuts.
I'll kind of look over and it's probably got like a layer of dust on everything but the buttons.
I wouldn't say it is covered in dust as much as
it's just like it's
covered in
old.
stickers.
Yeah, this kind of looks like it might last longer than the building at this point.
I've always wondered whether those kind of things would stomach a nuclear blast. Starting to think those stickers are structural.
It'll just be us, the zombies, in this thing.
Their new king. So, wait a minute, you're on your way to work?
Yeah. Can't stay for very long, so.
Yeah. I should probably go check on a couple things if you wouldn't mind someone walking you back.
Yeah. Before I let you leave, I got you cornered. Can I get your number?
Sure, all right.
I will swap numbers. Now you can't just drink and dash as soon as we leave the door.
Oh, perish the thought. So I'm assuming you walk out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you trying to make any sort of physical display, or is it more casual?
I'll do the let the arms and like hands brush as we're walking and stuff. Kind of lean in a little close. See how he responds. Because I feel like we've gotten a little bit closer throughout the conversations. Almost the one will take a step and one will kind of like take a step, just kind of judge and see how it's going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He'll kind of look at you once or twice a little. It's not a smirk, but it's a little sly. It's more like, okay, I see the game. But now he's trying to go, I'm not going to pull away, but I'm not going to lean much more into it just to see what she does. So now it's a different game. It's more like some form of chicken.
If we're still kind of standing at the bar,
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you're
Uh,
walking at this point. As
yeah,
you're...
I'll say on the way out as we
Mhm.
set our cups down to leave, I will kind of like slide right past him, like real close to like leave the bartender an extra tip.
So you're trying to
That
pass
is,
in front of him, like against his, like what's the...
yeah, kind of like almost like let the hand brush across them and like lean, yeah, like in front of him in a very like, all right, this is your move in this chicken. I am, being assertive and
Okay. So this is sort of like the back of the shoulder against the arm or chest kind of thing. Like,
mm-hmm,
oh, oops, I've not quite fallen over, but
mm-hmm.
um, and there's this as you're leaning over, like, oh, I guess I'll just put an arm on or a hand on her shoulder, just to make sure she's staying steady as she's leaning over. You know,
Mm-hmm. Kate with her bare arms and bare shoulders in this satin tank.
mm, the daintiest predator.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming you're covering both or just yours.
I'll just get mine because like I feel like I wouldn't have opened a tab or anything. I would have just paid for it, but this is like an extra
Okay.
tip.
Hmm. Okay.
One, to establish myself well in this new place right by my house, and two, for that reason to like lean across them.
Okay. Now, the important thing is when you settle back down onto your feet, are you still keeping that proximity?
Mm-hmm.
So is the excuse to get into proximity and not... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Does he leave like the hand across?
yes, but it's light. It's testing.
Mm-hmm.
And but he says in a low tone, I'm ready to get out of here.
Let's go.
You walk on out. Now, do you lead him in the actual direction of your haven?
Yeah. He doesn't know how far, he just knows the neighborhood. So I'll start heading east down East Harris Street.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be at least an alley or two between here and there
Okay.
that I can kind of step in with him for a second.
Fair enough. Now, the question is, do you go for 1, 2, or we're getting into dangerous territory?
Really need 3.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna leave him pretty woozy if you do that.
Yeah.
That music change.
Yep. Yeah, that's the only thing about not leaving him at the bar. Because I don't think I have time to go feed on anybody else before work. Okay, help me think. What are my options to do with him if I were to take 3?
Well, you could leave him napping in the alley. You could sort of keep him a little steady and call him a cab.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd be basically helping pour a man into the back seat of a car. You could conceivably bring him back to your place.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you knew what Ellie and Tabby were up to, you could have a volunteer.
Oh no.
Bloodbag Barry.
I don't think there are any like burger joints or anything between here and there because it really is just like a block and half of that is the church.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna feed 3 and then call him a cab.
Okay.
And I can even call him a cab from my parking lot.
Okay.
We're not necessarily at which one is Cade's front door or that
But
even that
you're
this
in
is
that vicinity.
yeah.
Okay. I would say if you want a bit of the privacy, though,
Mm-hmm.
you'd have to go beyond the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. So there is he's gonna be woozy, maybe he won't remember. There is a little courtyard entrance into Kate's
Because there's a like little
house.
mini gate.
Yeah. So we could step inside there.
Mm-hmm. So you'd have the privacy.
Yeah.
And the gentleman rocker is seeing you home.
Mm-hmm.
Right up to your front door.
Mm-hmm.
You were not handsy, but flirty.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's not making the move.
Mm-hmm. It's okay, I will.
Okay. You going for the neck?
Yeah. I'll kind of walk right up to the front door, like fiddle with the keys and the like kind of test to get out. And then I'll even say, okay, so it looks like I'm making the first move. So that is one of the last things he has a memory of. And then I will feed on the neck.
I'm assuming that it starts with the hint of an actual kiss of lips before it goes to more delights. And much like with Ellie's interlude, there is a relaxed, pleasant sigh, a hand on your back both intermingles with your hair, but it is soft. There's no pull to it. It's more just an intermingling that gets so light as though it feels it's part of your hair as you take a little bit more than you normally would. You are not so much supporting his weight as much as you are at least feeling it.
And there's a little like patio seat
mm-hmm.
that we can sit down on.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't pass out, but as the charged interlude ends, you do see him lean back with a little dozy smile. He's like, oof.
Drinks hit you a little hard, or is it the other?
Why can't it be both?
I didn't say it couldn't be.
Yeah, I think I just need to sit for a little bit.
You mean call you a ride?
You know, I'm not so proud that I wouldn't say yes to that.
Look, if I can't help a new friend get home, what kind of person am I?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Not at all. And I'll get his address.
And from there, you see him off, and you get on with your evening. Unless there's any further thoughts you'd like to share. Okay. We're going to fade out from there.
Another number to add to the second phone.
Okay. Now, we have 2 scenes left. I don't need a break, but would either of you prefer just a moment before we continue on?
I'm good.
Okay. Which is good because we're starting with you.
Oh.
Which you are waking up in your self-adorned room, or at least embellished by you, by what was already there. What's your first thought and goal of this evening?
I think the first thing she thinks when she wakes up is, I'm hungry. Oh no.
Mhm.
Gotta go take care of that. And so she turns on some music. In my mind, I picture in the montage moment, she puts on Love Cats by The Cure and starts getting dressed in this like bodysuit leotard that's like cheetah print, and then these like straight-legged leather pants and some like nice black platforms. And like she's got earrings, she's done up her hair.
Dark epic pop cover of Material Girl.
Yes, yes, very that, very that. Um, but yeah, I think she's recognizing that perhaps she waited a little bit too long, because it's taking a little bit more energy for her to seem mortal,
Mm-hmm.
because she spent her blood
So you
doing
spent
that.
2 for the evening, correct?
I
Okay.
did, yeah.
How far along your hunger are you?
I am out of 11. I only have 5.
Okay, so you're
Yeah,
starting to get a hangry.
yeah, it's not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guess that math works out. No? Because we had said that you had started the night
I
that you were going to Elysium with your full health, and you were going to go down -2, so you'd be at 9.
9.
So you should be at 7 right now, I believe, if you're going with 2 each.
Oh, I see. Okay. So maybe I'm not at that point,
No.
but I'm still hungry.
Yeah, you're getting a little hangry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so not as bad,
No.
but you don't want to let it get that bad. Because when you let it get that bad, that's when you make mistakes.
Yes.
There is a saying of necessity is the mother of invention. Desperation is the cause of woe and tragedy. Don't be
Sounds
that
about right.
person.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I'm assuming you are getting, in one degree or another, tarted up.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how, where, whom?
So I text Mouse
Mhm.
and ask if there's a party tonight anywhere, and that I feel like dancing.
Do you send her like a little video of you doing that in particular, or it's more that you're trying to convey
It's
that
a
in
voice
words.
memo. She sends a
Okay.
voice memo, and
So
it's
you're
like,
trying to convey that.
"Hey, is there a party or anything tonight? Because I really feel like dancing. Would you
Mhm.
dance with me?"
Now you remember that this was well, mouse is a very appropriate term for the
Yes.
girl that was named Heidi, but did you write down her actual name?
No, I put her name as the mouse emoji in my phone and don't know her actual name.
Okay.
One of her secret goals for tonight is to find out what her actual name is, just in case, because she might need to cover her ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how that goes for you.
Yeah.
Oh, this sort of collegey music you got going on here, Sam, is so appropriate. You get back after a little while. Like at first there was the dot 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 dot. Nothing. Dot 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 nothing. And you remember, at least I hope you remember, what interacting with her was like. Is that
Yeah.
she was picking up what you were putting down, but she was very much a wallflower that was being happily plucked from that spot, but didn't know what to do with it.
Yes.
Very blushy, very giddy, totally into it, but it's all new. So I'm not used to that kind of attention.
Hmm.
And you had even kind of let her out at one point. So she wasn't used to being the object of affection. So you get the impression this is less, this person, and more, ah,
What do I do? Gotta find a
Rango
party.
Burr,
Google.com party.
how to talk to girl. Thanks, Yahoo Answers. No, I don't need to
WikiHow
know.
always
Yeah,
has my back.
I don't need to know if I'm Pregante.
Ferdinand?
Eventually you get back a 1 second audio clip of someone that's attempting to respond, but it's just this panic squeak before they try to delete it.
Aptly named.
Yeah, and
Oh.
then it's just all caps. I didn't mean to send that.
Um, Poppy
Party
just
at dorms tonight. Want to go? Again in all caps because they have not come back down from that initial panic, and then it's a very quick. Sorry for the cap.
Poppy will just type back, "Oh, no worries. Sure, that sounds great." Um, is school in session yet, or is it going to be like the RAs that are there getting
There are
ready, or is it
summer
teachers?
programs.
Okay, okay.
They are a little more anemic, but
Hmm.
there are
Okay.
people there.
Okay, great. Cool.
Because otherwise you would be waiting a month in game to have
To do anything
fall semester
instead.
start. Yeah. So
Cool.
do you say anything back to this, or
She'll say, "Cool, meet you there."
do you send her this as a text or as another audio clip?
She'll send a selfie, of her in her outfit and like little peace sign, and then on it she'll add the text that just says, "Cool, meet you there."
Okay. You get another flurry of dot 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 pause dot 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 pause, and you get a dorm building, floor, and door number.
Awesome.
And 3 ellipses followed by, can you help me pick out something to wear?
Sure, want to hop on a FaceTime?
Funny, because I'm wondering, did you not add the word time at the end of it the first time, or that's what she's eating, and she has a full-on meltdown, not knowing what to do with that.
Oh, mouse. Oh, sweet mouse. Gotta be careful. Don't want a dead mouse.
Mm. Mouse go squeak. Anywho, like some sort of pigtail chew toy.
Yeah.
She does not respond to that for a little bit. She goes, just help when you get here, maybe.
Sure. Oh, so she's the one throwing the party.
You get the impression that's just her dorm room, and you're going to go.
Oh, and we'll go together. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand.
Mm.
Okay, great. Sure.
Okay.
Poppy will get ready to head out.
Mm-hmm. Do you tell anyone you are leaving? They're not your parents by any stretch of the imagination, but do you do the courtesy? Do you check in?
Yeah, I think when she leaves, if she sees either Nico or Clarice around, she'll mention, and if she doesn't see them, she'll text them and just be like, "Hey, I'm headed out towards SCAD. Does anyone need a ride?" That kind of thing.
You wouldn't see Nico as much as you would have eventually got a text while you're in your primping and preening stage that he was going out.
Mhm.
Didn't say where, but just that he was.
Cool.
So at least there's a certain reciprocation of letting you know that he's not going to be around.
Mhm.
But in that I'm not home, you can still reach me, sort of
Yeah.
way. You do find Clarice in that same white parlor, a similar cut but different style or a different coloration of that white silk gown, like a dressing gown or
Mhm.
night dress, whatever. Uh, but she's not playing music this time, despite Sam's excellent timing. She's more sitting on uh like a lounger, looking through pictures in a less animated fashion than she was the night before.
Mhm.
As you walk in, she is quieter. She doesn't see, she seems aware of you, is not dismissive, but isn't entirely paying attention.
Gotcha.
And she is once again uh, handling at the little cameo brooch. Sometimes sort of running it between her fingers like a little like tilt spin, or just running a finger over the contours of the design while looking at pictures.
Are they like magazine pictures like she was looking at earlier, or is this like actual photos?
Photos
Photos.
in a pristine in terms of how it is arranged, but a handmade scrapbook.
That's cool. Um, Poppy will, not trying to get into her bubble, will
Mm-hmm.
say, "Hey, I'm heading out. Ooh, are those photos?"
And she doesn't know at first if she's going to close the book or not. She looks over next to her for a moment, as if she's unsure of what she's about to do. And she pats the seat.
Poppy will try not to act surprised because she's surprised by that gesture. And we'll sit down next to her.
She turns the pages back to the beginning. And she brings it a little closer to you, so it's sort of laid across both your laps instead of just hers. She doesn't say anything, and she is slowly working through the pages, but you do see a persistent face that is sharing the frames with her. One that you would not expect to see in a photograph, as it is a collection of ruinous features, pointed ears, but hand in hand with Clarice in most of them.
And are the photos like, do they start, are they chronological, like as far as time passing, or is there any way to tell just based on what they're wearing?
It's hard to tell,
Mm.
and styles are one of those things where some people like to play with both style and medium, where it can get a little difficult to tell, but you find some of them are Polaroids, some of them are proper glossy prints, some of them black and white, some of them color,
Mm.
some of them more intensely processed than others, and others more candidly blurred, sometimes of her or of him. And there's one she settles on where he's not looking at the camera. It's more of a side profile in much a way that almost looks like a low-key silhouette that you might see on a cameo. And she does pause there for a little bit. She doesn't say anything.
Poppy's trying to decide whether to say anything. I think maybe under her breath a little bit during that pause on the photo, she'll kind of just whisper, beautiful.
I don't know if the player remembers this, but in the preludes,
Yeah.
you asked her, have you ever just been taken by the beauty of it all?
Mhm.
She replied at the time, while handling that same cameo necklace, yes.
Yeah.
So she runs her fingers over it, and you see that glassiness of her eyes go a tinge of pink. as she is trying very hard not to well up. What do you do?
Think maybe Poppy is sensing that she doesn't want to be seen crying or anything like that. Um, we'll take that moment to stand and say, I told someone I'd meet them, so I'm gonna head out. But if you need anything while I'm out, just text me.
Enjoy it.
Poppy will leave.
Now, I'm assuming you don't take the rolls.
No, I'll take my Lexus.
Okay.
Just a little bit of Lexus. And I think there is a moment where she like sits and just kind of like stares into space for a second because that was a very tense, charged moment of longing on a, vampiric many years kind of level for her. And she's like, and I'm about to go to a college party.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do
I
some
would
keg
say
stands.
your takeaway would be absolutely decades.
Yeah,
There were some dates written
yeah.
on some of them. You know this goes back 60 years at least.
Yes. Oh, she'll take a breath. She'll shake her head and then turn on the Brat album. Go to the-
She just has to
Since this
flip
is,
that switch, change the
I just
mood.
have to literally flip the switch and we're on. And she'll
Considering this
go
takes
over.
place in August 2024, in the middle of Brat summer, this is appropriate. So you head over to the dorms.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of cars in the parking lot at... Well, this goes by a few names. The Colony at the Hive of Scad. Because it all has a bit of a bee theme to it. There's a few cars, a few bikes. It does feel sparse. It doesn't feel dead or ghostly,
Mhm.
but underpopulated. If there's a party, you don't see where it could possibly be.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe there's a secondary location Poppy thinks to herself, hopefully.
Okay. You, I'm assuming, go up a flight of stairs, the elevator. Do you tell her
Mhm.
you're arriving, or do you go right to
Yeah,
the
I'll send
door?
her that courtesy text of just got here so that I don't actually give her a panic attack.
Okay. You do get back a texted,
Oh no. Ugh, I'm gonna need another hookup. Okay, great, cool.
Is it going to break this one?
No, I'll keep this one and yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you get to the door, you knock. Door opens real quick. But it's in that she's also surprised by how quick it opened.
Yeah.
And she is in a like tank top and shorts, but in a way it's going, I'm between outfits because I don't know what to do.
hmm hmm
And she looks at you like, oh, okay.
No, I'm
And
here to
you
help.
see
Don't worry
her
about
like
it.
pile of clothes, and it's a lot more in comparison to you, like Oshkosh bagosh.
Okay, okay. It's giving It's giving Portland a little bit right now, which, maybe is a vibe sometimes when we're hiking or, living off the land. But let me see what you got. And Poppy will just kind of start digging through the pile of stuff to see if she can find, I don't know, something that's a little more becoming for a party.
Mm-hmm. She is sort of like nervously holding the pigtails at some points. Like, I did not expect her to be going through my clothes in quite this way.
Mhm.
That was the exact intent, Dreamy. So you have the right of it. As you're rifling through, are you trying to create a particular image? Or are you
Um,
trying to just get away from the Oshkosh?
Getting away from the Oshkosh, I think, is part one. Um, Maybe finding like, I mean, a solid pair of jeans
Hmm.
and a cute top of some sort, other than
Okay.
me.
I'd say if you were to try and make one of her tops cute, you almost
Mhm.
have to like tie it up to
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it
we can do
croppy.
that. Yeah, we do like a
So
little
it's
crop top.
like it's not mom jeans, but it's not like hip hugger kind of things. Like it's comfy jeans when she's probably
Yeah,
sitting around with sketch pads you notice around.
yeah,
And it's the kind of
cool.
dorm style that looks like it's a bed slash reading nook against the wall. You notice
That
art
makes
supplies
sense.
everywhere, and it's both in a state of well used and chaos.
Yeah, I think maybe for that reason, Poppy will try to organize as she is diving in to find things just to not add to the chaos.
Hmm.
Um, but she'll find the pair of jeans and the shirt and be like, thoughts, feelings.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I think it'll look really good on you, actually.
Okay. And then she realizes there's nowhere to like get changed privately right now.
Mm,
And
I can turn around. Unless you want me to watch.
there's that sort of like twirl of one of them. Like, you can stay.
Okay.
Now do you like sort of avert your gaze or you just be like
I think she'll like coyly avert her gaze and like flip through her sketch pad that's like sitting there. Um,
somehow that's more intimate?
oh no.
Um oh god, what would be really funny for that right now?
Oh
As she's
no.
getting as she's getting changed, she hears you rifling through the pages.
Please be her life drawing class.
I can do so much better.
Furry art.
Do you know who Bruce Timm is?
No.
He is,
Google.com.
uh did the art for Batman the Animated Series.
Yes, yes.
He does erotica. Like draws
Oh.
erotica. Like in that same style that he does all
Oh.
yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That
Cute.
seems to be her hero in terms of what she's trying to emulate. There's parts of it that are in need of refinement, but she clearly has an understanding.
Hmm.
So this mousy little waif
Hmm.
has some interests
Mm.
hidden behind all the Oshkosh. And she turns around and she's trying to like because you were trying to like help her like tie up that thing. Like that was the
Yeah.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's kind of struggling with that for a sec. She's not quite sure how to do it properly, and then she sees you looking at the pages. Uh, okay.
These are beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. I like the vibe. Here, come here. Let me help you fix that.
Okay. She's trying to distract like, the fact she's obviously going a bit red.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Poppy will like
not just for
yank
the
her in.
proximity, but because you were looking through the sketchbook,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's really giving her the panic attack now.
Oh no.
Do you have a favorite? Like she's not making eye contact at all.
Do I have a favorite of these drawings?
Like she just doesn't want to put words out now.
Well, I really like this one where she's like doing this kind of pose and she'll kind of like do the pose.
She's going to like very tentatively reach for the sketchbook.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I am gonna grab the sketchbook away and pull her in.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am really hungry. This is taking too long. Yeah, just to break contact barrier in the kind of way of like, here, come here, and I'm gonna fix your shirt while I go for your neck, and like, yeah.
Okay. I guess you're never going to hear what she was going to say, but all right.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you
What
did
was
this
she
to
gonna
you,
say?
not me.
I did this to me, yeah.
So the question is, how much do you take?
Well, since we're going to a party, Poppy's a little hopeful about meeting other people too. So maybe only like two is two is not going to make her faint, is it? Is it just going to make her?
It's going to make her very lovey-dovey slumped against you a bit, but
Okay.
not in a way that's going to be, I need to call the RA.
Okay, great. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
It's more like she's going to have that dopey, dizzy smile.
Yeah. That honestly might calm her down a little bit, you know?
Oh yeah, like she just took it makes her seem like she just took a lot of Xanax for a minute, because she's just like, brain can rest for a second. You've given her the soft reboot.
Great.
And like her face is sort of like buried in the side of your neck now, kind of. I'm assuming like sitting on the edge of the bed.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of petting her hair and still looking through the sketches.
And a little weakly, she puts her hand on the book as you get to the end, and there's a blank page. She goes, "Can I draw you?"
Oh my God. Yes, of course you can. Do you want me clothed or without?
I feel like we need to pan out on her panic attack at that.
Oh,
I like the idea that she goes reaching blindly for a pencil as the music sort of intensifies, and she goes like,
Yeah.
Paint me
She
like
says,
one of your
"Whip,"
Rose girls.
and then it cuts.
A what?
Oh no.
Oh no.
I know how that could end.
Say it.
Oh no.
Commit to your bullshit.
And RA
Can
is
I
called.
help you with your clothes?
Yes, of course.
But it's said in this like almost high pitch that the only person that could hear it would be Artem.
Somewhere Artem goes,
Cryptid powers
what was
activate.
that? Oh my god.
We can fade out from there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So let's check in, last but not least, with Cora.
Or a complete tone shift.
Mm.
Right.
You can do it. If we can go from do you know a pet store to Kate, you got this. I believe in you.
I mean, we had a pretty big tone shift within Poppy's entire scene of absolute sadness to let's do the sexy. So I'm pretty sure there's modular allowed in this.
All right. Cora's eyes open in the dark of an unfamiliar environment. She stands, but something cold brushes against her ear. Reaching out to it, she pulls the chain near her cot to illuminate the space with a click. The room she slept in must have been intended as a small office or large closet. No windows, save for 2 slim panes of glass above the doorway into the rest of the apartment. It was nice of Lewis to set the cot in here. Let her decide if she'll risk the true bedroom and its windows to the outside. She steps softly into the bedroom and across dark walnut floorboards, long-running, narrow, worn, and dirty, to twist open the horizontal blinds and allow the light of the street lamp in, casting new shadows. The window AC unit rumbles to life and whirs in front of her. She slept like a stone yesterday, like she almost always does now. It hadn't wakened her during the hot Savannah day. She runs her hand along the tan stucco wall on her way to the petite bathroom to start the shower, and crosses back to dig soap from her bag. She hums a tune she heard on a cassette tape once. Now, dressed in an airy button-up with variable width vertical stripes widely spaced, loosely half-tucked into sand-color linen suit slacks, Cora collects her keys from the oddly shaped kitchen and walks into the hallway with her stairs. Lots of windows in here, she thinks. White walls, the same tall ceilings from the rest of her little apartment. She refocuses and descends. After locking the door at the bottom of the stairway, now in the humid night air, she steps away to get a good look at the building with fresh eyes. Light green paint, faded dark trim. Thin lateral boards for siding, windows pieced into the many little rectangles of historic window panes. A half-pyramid-shaped metal awning above her tiny porch here on the corner, and 3 more just like it down the rest of the long building, the entryways for other tenants. It looked like it could have been here since 1900, but now it was her haven, provided she kept up her end of the bargain. Did that make this street her domain? She wanted to explore. And so she will.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would like to add one thing to that.
Yeah.
Due to your prior living arrangements back in Frankfurt,
Hmm.
the pattern tries to reassert itself. You don't physically trip in any way, but the body, the mind, your senses, paradoxically, feel as though you are walking up a flight of stairs at the start of your night rather than down. You don't miss a step, you don't trip and fall and clatter to the ground like a rag doll. But it's as if you are experiencing two timelines or two different parts of a timeline at once. Until you leave.
Even throughout the building, just on the stairs.
Just on the stairs.
She recalls it was like that entering the space too.
The thing that trips up a lot of people, quite literally, is that stairs are precise in terms of how tall they actually are from each other, to the point where people who have dreams about their homes remember stairs very vividly. The idea that you can be off by a micromillimeter of how your stairs are in one house or another will actually cause accidents. We are so used to how stairs are that it is almost universal. So your mind remembers the same height and gait of each step in the wrong order. But you don't suffer anything ill from it. It's more just a strange inversion as you fight through a habit.
Well, at least it was the same way going out as it was going in.
But now that
Sort
you
of
are
shakes it off a little bit.
now that you are on the street of your neighborhood, a church across from you, not the basilica, but a church.
Are there any lights on in this church?
Dim. More like the kind of lights you would see in a grocery store that's closed for the night.
Cora's gonna kind of cock her head and walk over casually and peek through the window.
The lights you're seeing are not from a ground level window as much as through the, not even stained glass as much as curtained windows. You're getting sort of this dim haze. That would be very difficult to see anything beyond the fact that there is some manner of light.
Let's stroll over to the parking lot. Are there a lot of vehicles parked over there?
No,
Okay. Any?
there. No, you would see some things on the actual street. There doesn't appear to be any cars in the parking lot.
Any signs for the name of this place?
There would be if I remembered it off the top of my head. There is an actual name of the church. I just can't recall off the top of my head.
So kind of take a note.
Mm-hmm.
And focus our attention away from the church now, back at our own building. Are there any cars parked street side in front of the
There's a
building
few.
that I live in?
There's a few.
Any like bumper stickers or anything? Give me a idea of who the other tenants might be.
Interesting. You would get like a Jesus fish on one of them,
Okay.
but you, on the car behind it, see the Darwin fish sticker, almost like a refutation.
Feuding.
but nothing concerning. You get something like, my other car's an M1 Abrams.
Okay.
Or what would be another one? It's one that looks like it's scratched out, but that looks like, my kid is an honor roll student, but it's intentionally scratched out, like as part of the sticker, rather than someone having actually scratched it out. It just goes, my kid sells drugs to your honor roll student.
Got it.
So it's a little more just kind of playful bullshit.
Yeah. Was that the M1 Abrams car having the same sticker?
Oh, you think like this, as in all these on the same car, or
Yeah. Or they broken
they're all in
up?
different cars.
Okay.
There's a collection of just oddities.
She's satisfied with that.
I'm assuming you go for a bit of a walk from here.
Yeah, I think we'll go for a stroll.
Okay.
Let's understand my environment.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's a bit circuitous rather than just a direct straight line. Trying to just sort of run the nautilus.
Yeah, she's spiraling out from her apartment, essentially.
You'd find a few places that are shuttered. Some things that have been dealt death blows from micro recessions, or their industry just no longer being relevant. Maybe have sat like that for years and boarded up. Others that are more like old garages. Gas station nearby.
Make a mental note of that.
Mm-hmm. You find very small businesses, not quite strip mall, but just little pockets of mom and pop businesses. Very few things that are like franchise. In fact, you do find a little diner.
I think that's intriguing to Cora. That's the kind of thing she's seen in media, but never actually been to.
I imagine where she's from, such things are only in media. The American diner is such a staple of pop culture that never made it over there. And if it has, it was weirdly uncanny valley emulation.
Cora's going
like
to
the genuine deal.
Check her pocket money. She have enough to get a coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll head inside.
You see this on the outside, a place called Pappy's Diner. And that strange retro amalgamation of both straight lines and curves that really make up that aesthetic. And those very strange palettes of the kind of bluish greens you would only see on like a 1970s fridge that no one liked.
That's delightful.
Yeah. The booths on the inside are of a similar palette, with that black and white tile flooring, the strange color choice of orange and green neon running in very thin tubes along the wall. You see a few customers, one person behind the counter, and one young woman weighing tables.
Are the customers sitting along the counter?
Some are at the counter, some are at booths.
Okay. I'll go ahead and sit at the counter. Seems a bit more sociable than sitting at a booth.
Okay. Do you look around, or do you simply keep attention to the person behind the counter?
I'll look around as I take a seat. I'm curious about the place.
Remind me, as a set of eyes notice you, and they raise a coffee cup in your direction. Did you ever meet the driver, Cora?
I did.
Mm.
There was one night when Kate was our ride to go out drinking together, and she left with someone. So I needed a way back. And Artem and Chris took the rover.
And you had an interaction, I presume.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Cora opened up about herself, as she tends to do, and asked the driver if he needed any help doing what he does, since she had a not dissimilar line of work.
Mm-hmm.
Then kind of questioned whether she actually would be good at what he does, considering how much he was getting her to self-reflect.
As he has raised the mug to you, slight nod, but he doesn't seem to be inviting you over or dissuading you either. He simply goes back to holding the mug, staring off, seemingly enjoying the warmth that rises off in the steam.
Boy, this is unexpected. I think Cora would like to walk a little closer. Ask him if the seat next to him is taken.
He'll angle his head to the adjacent seat of his booth.
Sit down.
Before you can say anything, the professionally beleaguered waitress walks on by. She puts down a menu. Welcome to Pappy's. Can I get you a cup of coffee?
Yes, coffee's great.
You see on her name tag, Roxy. Or actually, sorry, Roxanne, because nobody's that cool that they'll actually put that name on there.
Thanks, Roxanne.
Just write something down. She walks away, and you can see her going behind the counter to just start pouring a cup of coffee. And she's back pretty quick. And you can see next to you that there is a little like bin of you don't know if it's actual creamers or non-dairy creamers. They are in that both labeled and unlabeled sort of fashion of difficult to discern, and you're taking some chances.
Yeah.
But you have your cup of coffee very quickly, and you have maybe not privacy per se,
Mm.
but a little bit of potential quietude if you're trying to strike up a conversation.
I don't think I expected to see anyone I recognized here.
Why not?
Well, most of the times I've had these interactions, somebody's been inviting me someplace where I already know they're going to be.
Well, if the aim is that we're all just folk, wouldn't we all run into each other eventually?
That does make sense. Cora's gonna go ahead and grab one of the creamers and empty it into the coffee.
You see that he's drinking his, well, drinking, strong word, but his is just a black coffee.
So, I wasn't really thinking about getting anything to eat, but is this a good place? Cora
Compared to what?
is.
Compared to what?
Oh. Well, I just wanted to make sure that it was the sort of thing that if I wanted to be a customer, that I wasn't going to have like this a bad time.
Only a bad time if you cause one.
Okay.
And he briefly brings the mug up to his lips as though he's going to sip, and then puts it back down. Seemingly more for the smell and the heat.
Given any interesting rides lately?
You all have something to say.
I'm sure we do.
What about you?
Yeah, actually. If you've ever taken Bella any place?
Possibly.
I possibly have to.
What was that like with your skewed reflections?
I think we ended up syncing up a little bit earlier in the evening, and it was a companionable silence.
Are you sure it was for both of you?
Well, I like to hope so, but maybe I shouldn't assume.
Where are you going from here?
I'm not exactly sure yet. Just sort of enjoying the night.
As you say that, the young waitress walks up again. Hey, can I take your order?
Um, you know, I'm not really hungry. I appreciate it. I think the coffee's going to be fine.
Okay, let me know if that changes. And she scribbles something down and she starts continuing her rounds and then making herself back at the behind the counter, probably marrying some catch-ups just to fill the time.
I mean, really, what am I going to do with an omelet?
Hmm. What is the harm in the pantomime?
Well, I've heard it can be a little unpleasant. I mean, just the actual act.
Living has its unpleasantries. Should you stop that?
I guess not.
Before, eating still had its unseemly consequences. Now they're just different.
Yeah. Has Cora tried to eat
You
since?
you tell me that. She's tried having coffee,
Yeah.
but while you know only one thing has satisfied, the good claret.
I guess Cora is definitely the type of let's probe and understand what it is to be kindred sort of person. So she probably would have at least tried to eat like a donut or something, a pretzel.
Do you try and flag the waitress down again?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
As you start to do that, he's just going to hold the mug. It's your first time at a real diner. Get the
Yeah,
burger. Get the burger.
I'll get the burger. Really only seen places like this in the movies, so.
Beyond his suggestion, he leaves it up to what you actually do. She comes back with her little pad as you flag her down. Change your mind?
Yeah, actually, I heard the burger was really good, so.
Yeah. All right. What do you want on it?
Just the way it comes.
Works it is.
I'm not
Yeah. You
getting
hear
myself
her
into
yell.
any strange flavors, right?
He does not respond. You just see and hear him sip the coffee. She turns and yells to behind the counter, "One around the world."
It's really cold and around the world.
Mm.
If she's still standing there.
She's already kind of buggered off. And he will sort of look to your, I guess, confusion, amusement at that interaction. The stereotype is they have short hands for everything.
Huh. That's fun. I like that.
All these little quirks preserved. In a retro off-pen tone time capsule.
I was just going to say, sort of frozen in time.
Rather apt, don't you think?
Very.
A strange distillation of life that never looked this way.
Surely, someone thought it did.
Or wanted people to think it did. A cleaned image to sell.
Yeah, it's it's a lot of things going on behind the counter sometimes. Cora just starts wrapping the table with a finger.
You hear, relatively short order, that someone goes, order up. And she's just as swift to bring you your order and some utensils. You see that there's already condiments and stuff on the little tiny rack that's already on the booth against the wall, next to the questionable bowl of creamers.
Well, I'm going to have the whole experience. She'll grab some of the condiments and apply them to the burger.
So we've had this discussion before where I am allowing people to decide a certain amount of the detriment of the curse. Where I don't want to override that Artem had to take a whole merit to be able to hold it down easily and get a full range of taste. I want you to tell me if this is a muted sense of taste, ashes in your mouth, or somewhere in between.
It's in between, but leaning ashes. Like the food is really overcooked, burned, forgotten about.
But if you were to look where you took a bite, it's that medium rare of a proper burger.
She attempts to maintain composure as she takes a bite, looks at the burger. Well, someone remembers this as really fantastic.
He is taking another sip of his coffee and putting it down. You see no grimace. You see no reaction. You don't know if he has a muted sense of taste or if it's just a mouthful of burnt pennies. But either way, he's not letting on.
You seem to be enjoying yourself.
Don't ever let them know you're not.
You know, it's still kind of funny at this point, really.
I think I may have missed a word in there, sorry.
It's still kind of funny at this point, really.
What is?
Base. Some of the other things that, you know, people who have to do the night shift have to deal with. I mean, sure, it can be dangerous, right? But. And there's. It's like. It's like you're moving to a new city and picking up a new hobby and trying to learn a different language, like all at the same time. And so there's little things that happen that, you know, it feels like if you get it wrong, sure, it's not great, but you know, what can you do but laugh at it? So, like this. I mean, maybe it gets old, I'm sure it does. But right now, it's still pretty new to me, so.
Many fall within two categories. Two sides of the same coin. Nihilism or absurdism.
Is there anyone who has done both?
Most do. At one point or another.
Or is now just spinning, not like trying to like set it off like a Beyblade or something, but just the coffee cup, just like twisting it around on the table.
You will add something to that. If you last long enough, you will find ever finer gradients between the two.
Let's hope I do, huh?
Up to you.
Well, at least for now, I think that's. I'm more interested in sticking around than not. Shall I take a sip of acrid coffee?
Mm-hmm. So the question for you at the moment, while tonight was ostensibly about feeding, that can mean a few things. Do you lean into the pantomime or do you reject it?
I think Cora is now of a mind to put her mouth where her mouth is. That this is kind of absurd, isn't it? And just try to have this meal.
Would you like to make that a roll?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. I feel like courage and self-control.
Okay. Hey, Cora.
Or oh, that would be interesting.
Oh, okay. I like interesting.
You know what? I'm not going to roll it that way. What's your humanity at right now?
I'm pretty human.
Okay.
I've got I'm 3 away from full humanity.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to have you roll your humanity.
Ooh, okay.
Difficulty of 6.
That's yeah, okay. Oh no. Well, friends. Cora has botched at eating a hamburger.
I think on that rather beefy note, we should end there for tonight. But before we do, we're going to keep these a little bit brief because we do have more of this night to continue later on. We're going to start with some brief final thoughts, and we're going to go with Cora because I just love that for me.
So, I think Cora has found herself at the end of this, or at the pause in this interaction in the driver, finding him to be one of her, like, personal push the limit challenges now. Because every other kindred she's spoken to, pretty much, has really seemed to reciprocate her openness when she offers it. And the driver is doing so, but in a way that tends to reflect her back on herself rather than really saying anything about himself. And so she's like, I am gonna get you to want me to know about you. So I think there's a bit of that going on with this interaction. I also suspect that after my role, just as a player, that Cora may be having to consider a change of menu if not a change of venue. So,
We can move on.
mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to go with Tabby next. Because I'm very interested to hear the logic behind your decision. Or at least some of it. You don't have to reveal all of it. But what went into that decision?
Abby did accurately voice a lot of the reasoning behind the decision. There was a reason to resist originally giving the numbers, but upon reflection and driven by her increasing sense of losing avenues as she just kind of stumbled and stumbled and stumbled, she was trying to damage control and keep allies who she hadn't overly wronged or shamed herself in front of. And since Ellie had immediately upon meeting Tabby been kind and been helpful, there not only is potential just companionship there, but there had been previous moments of them working together and it being good and useful. And while there was a sense of treachery in regards to the information of the other neonates, there is a camaraderie amongst Nosferatu that, in this moment at least, Tabby has decided to embrace as opposed to the other. Trying to maintain a friend base before crawling up from rock bottom.
Well, I think it's only appropriate that we move on to Ellie to get the other side of that.
Ellie was indeed surprised and relieved that Tabby gave the was basically made the first move at reconciling, because I think Ellie was beginning to get back to their I can only do this by myself and I'm not going to depend on anyone mode. And obviously this is the first step. It's not like trusting Tabby with all of their secrets, but they do have a fun task ahead now, and Ellie feels like they've paid back a little bit of the information for, here's another source of supplies you can get, helping. And if we do this favor for Orson, that's probably going to, besides paying back for the blood, it's also going to help establish a good relationship.
Team
with
building
Orson.
exercise.
Yeah, exactly. And so this will probably be good for us. And Ellie does remember that one of their most successful recent missions was with Tabby's help. And so it will be good to see. And Ellie's also interested by what Tabby's plan is and how Ellie can help it not be a complete disaster.
Well, I'm not sure if everyone has done it yet, but we do love our botch bays as we are accumulating them. Am I able to move on, or do you have a further?
You can move on.
Okay. Let's move on to Kate.
So for Kate, every aspect of kindred life is a game. And feeding is its own special kind of game because, at least for Kate, it is singular and solitary. There are less risks. There is some thinking about the future and building a herd, but you're not in that venture way having to think decades down the line. You get to think maybe a couple of months if they're interesting, and it's easy to move on. Like you and I have discussed before, it's a numbers game, and tonight it worked out. And it was someone who was worth having an interesting conversation with, which adds to it.
We'll see if that goes anywhere. But ultimately, that's up to whether Kate pursues that. Or allows him to pursue it. Is there any further thoughts or?
I think we can move on.
Okay. I'm very interested to hear Poppy at this point.
I think Poppy, even in the midst of feeding, perhaps, is thinking about Clarice and her kind of just sadness that envelops her. And she kind of tries to vow to herself to never, ooh, yeah, she tries to vow to herself to never let another person make her feel that way again in some ways. And that that she wants to hold on to the understanding that that kind of thing can happen, but try to protect herself from something as all-encompassing and almost paralyzing is what she's seen in Clarice. And then she's gonna party.
And how is her corrupting influence going?
Good so far. I think, yeah, good so far. Though I think she does want to find other, perhaps more bold people to feed off of, just so that she can get to a point of a nice, stimulating conversation, we'll say.
I'm sure she would be crushed if that's what if she knew that's what you thought.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is why she'll keep it to herself.
Not her clothes, apparently.
No, that's a separate thing. Those are separate things.
Quite literally.
Mm-hmm.
If there's no other further thoughts to share, other than the Toreador, we'll be leaving off from here tonight. Tune in tomorrow for Age of Innovation. We will eventually return to our epilogue series for Age of Myth. But for now, we'll be back on Wednesday with more Savannah by Night. Thank you all for watching. Have a good night.